Hello, and welcome back to the final episode of 100 Southeast Asian Films in 100 Days. And today we'll be going through these 5 films. And the first one this week, Tropical Malady by Apichatpong Wirasitakul. I found my mind wandering in the dreams of a mystical story of the characters in this film. Similar to his other films, it has the same way of telling a story but with a different approach each time. For this, I'd say he wanted to bring us into the wilderness, to feel the warm air and the wild nights, to give us an idea of what it's like to feel like a beast. An animal unbounded by the control of man. Another way this film used love to soften the interactions felt like I was seeing how love can attract or separate beings that commit to it. The line between reality and fantasy felt non-existent, as if every encounter felt like a magical journey in a time of uncertainty. There's many traits this film has that puts you in a moment of contemplation that we humans are all innately animals. That we live the way we do based on our instincts, that we trust our senses and ourselves the most. And the second one this week, When the 10th Month Comes by Dang Nhat Min. I love the way this film captures the honesty in the lives of humans that is naturally part of us no matter how we fight that force. Things like people meddling into others' lives, the containment of emotions and the information to maintain the status quo, and superstitions and beliefs that influence our choices as living beings. One of the many factors that drives the narrative of this film is complex yet told very simply. It includes things like politics, traditions, policies, and the issues of that time where it can change a person's life for the better or for the worse. Another thing worth noting about this film is that it brings us into a world where our deepest thoughts and vulnerabilities can only be confronted with something that's not from this world, and that thing is our imagination. The film doesn't force a way to tell the audience about the characters. It utilizes everything from the environment, expressions, and pacing to build or break a character. And the third film this week, Manila in the Claws of Light by Lino Brocka. I was looking at the bigger picture after this film. It would truly be a curse to be living in the lives of these characters, and the best option is probably death. The system that's broken and corrupt to the core can only be fixed from the core. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for the city of Manila, or the country as a whole. This film is timeless for its honesty and ability to expose the brutalities that the people who come into Manila have to endure. Brocka doesn't sugarcoat his films, nor give his characters any chance of any miracles. However, he doesn't need striking visuals to show the flaws of the world. He only needs to imply a thought for us to understand. Deception is a tool used by the animals at the top of the food chain to fool the ones at the bottom. Brocka shows us that this brutal world thrives off injustice and sin. And the fourth film this week, Uncle Boonmee Who Can Recall His Past Lives by Apichatpong Wirasitakul. This film is just gorgeous as a whole. I would say it's realistically magical. You see, hear, and smell what's presented before your eyes, but ultimately we feel what our hearts connect to and experience events that words could not describe. I want to quickly talk about the lighting and the cinematography. It captures darkness really well. I felt like I was in the same room with the characters and also being part of their conversation. For the exposition, watching this film felt like listening to the elderly tell a bedtime story. Whether it's to root fear into children or to pass down a tradition, I felt like this was one of those stories brought to life. As if my imagination has found a tangible path to come to life. I felt very eager, not just from wanting to find out more to satisfy my curiosity, but eager to get a warm hug. Eager to find a tiny speck of dust to fill a gap to truly live this life fully. And the fifth film this week, Insiang by Lino Brocka. As a male watching this, I could not relate more as someone who knows that what I do would not change anyone's life. That I am only responsible and able to change my life and only myself. This film implements the spectator mentality really well. Insiang is a young woman whose life is bounded by the people around her life, and when she's pushed off the edge, she lets everything break loose. I love the protagonist the most in this film and the choices she makes. Her development throughout the film was due to internal and external factors, and you notice that she becomes more proactive than reactive. I have to give credit to every aspect of this film that makes it unique when you pry open your eyes and start seeing the bigger picture. It's a succinct, sufficient, and satisfying piece of art that's honest and realistic while breaking the barriers of expectations. And that is this week's 5 films. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down your thoughts. And I'll see you next week. Bye.